The #1 business book Millionaires won't tell you about. Have you noticed how every video promising to change your life and explode your business features the same handful of books? You know the ones, the popular titles like Atomic Habits, Deep Work, or The 4-Hour Workweek. They're everywhere. And while those books offer valuable insights, maybe you've watched them and thought, is that really it? Are there other, perhaps deeper ideas that truly high-level entrepreneurs and successful people rely on? It's a valid question. And the truth is, yes, there are. But you won't often find them on those generic mass-market lists. Why? Because the insights used by those operating at the highest levels are often more nuanced, less immediately digestible, and frankly, far more powerful than typical surface-level business advice. They require a different way of seeing the world, a different way of thinking. Imagine trying to understand how a complex machine works by just looking at the gears. The gears are important, yes, but they're only one small part of the engine, the transmission, the electrical system, all working together. Most standard advice gives you a detailed look at one gear, but what if the problem isn't the gear itself, but how it connects to everything else? What if you're trying to fix a symptom without understanding the underlying cause in the machine's overall design? The book we're going to talk about today operates on that deeper level. It's not just a book, it's a lens that changes how you perceive challenges, opportunities, and effectiveness in every area of your life and business. It's so fundamental, so profoundly impactful, that once you understand its core ideas, you'll start seeing the world differently. It's the kind of knowledge that feels like a secret, because it cuts through the noise and gets to the heart of how things truly work. It's the underlying operating system for success, not just another app. By the end of this video, you won't just know the title of this incredible book. You'll understand the core idea that makes it so potent, why it's a secret weapon for those who achieve extraordinary results, and most importantly, you'll learn how to start applying its principles to transform both your business and your life. Stay till the end where we will make a step-by-step plan on how to apply this to your life. We put a lot of hours into this animated video, so if you want to support our new channel, please like this video, subscribe and push the notification bell so you don't miss our new videos. Let's begin. Part 1. Standard advice falls short. Why is it that so much of the popular business and self-help advice feels like it hits a ceiling after a while? You learn tactical skills, you adopt new habits, you optimize individual tasks, and yes, that brings results, especially when you're starting out. It's essential foundational stuff. Think of it like learning basic cooking skills: how to chop, how to sauté, how to boil. These are crucial techniques, and mastering them makes you a better cook. But building a truly great restaurant isn't just about having chefs who can chop and sauté. It's about sourcing ingredients, managing inventory, designing a menu that works together, training staff, handling customer flow, managing finances, marketing the business, and ensuring every single part of the operation contributes to the overall dining experience and profitability. You could have the best chopper in the world, but if your suppliers are unreliable, or your kitchen workflow is chaotic, or your pricing is wrong, the restaurant will struggle. This is where standard business advice often falls short. It focuses on the individual skills, the chopping and sautéing, which are necessary but not sufficient for building something truly scalable or sustainable. It tells you how to make a better single dish, but not how to run the entire kitchen, dining room, and business operation as a harmonious whole. If you've built something successful already but feel trapped by it, working constantly, unable to step away, with everything dependent on your personal effort, this is a classic sign that you've mastered the individual tasks but haven't built a resilient system. You're still the super chef doing all the critical cooking instead of the owner who has designed a system where great food is produced consistently, regardless of who is doing the chopping that day. Trying to achieve high-level success or reclaim your time and freedom by simply applying more of the same tactical advice is like trying to win a Formula One race by simply pushing the gas pedal harder. Speed is necessary, but you also need a perfectly tuned engine aerodynamic design, skilled pit crew, and a strategic race plan that considers tire wear, fuel consumption, and track conditions. Focusing only on pressing the pedal harder will likely just lead to burning out the engine or crashing. We need a more sophisticated way of understanding how everything interacts. Did you know that if you are currently watching this video, you are probably a visual learner? Before we get into the next part, wouldn't it be better if you had an app specially designed for visual learners like you? That's exactly what BookWatch offers. We have animated book summaries of the best non-fiction and stoicism books like The Daily Stoic, The Obstacle is the Way, and many more. You can watch animated videos like the one you are currently watching and also ask our AI how to specifically apply each book to your life. Check out the BookWatch app in the first link in the description below. Now, let's continue. Part 2. Business is interconnected systems. So, if business and life isn't just a collection of independent tasks, what is it? At its core, it's a network of interconnected systems. This concept is fundamental. A system is simply a set of things, people, cells, molecules, or whatever else, interconnected in such a way as to produce a pattern of behavior over time. Think about the simplest example, a bathtub. It has an input, the faucet, and an output, the drain. The level of water in the tub, the stock, changes based on the rate of water coming in and the rate of water going out. If the faucet is on high and the drain is closed, the water level rises. If the drain is open and the faucet is off, the water level drops. If both are running, the level depends on the relative rates. This simple bathtub is a basic system. Now, scale that up to a business. Your business isn't just a list of things to do. It's a dynamic entity made up of interacting parts. Consider your marketing. You create content, input. People see it and get interested, process, and some become leads, output. That's a system. Then, those leads become the input for your sales system. Leads come in, input. Your sales team contacts them and has conversations, process, and some become paying customers, output. That's another system. Those new customers are the input for your delivery or onboarding system. Customers sign up, input. You provide service or product, guide them, and help them succeed, process. And they get results and are happy, output. Another system. Notice something crucial here. The output of one system often becomes the input for another. Leads from marketing feed sales. Customers from sales feed delivery. Customer success from delivery feeds testimonials and referrals, which can become input for marketing. These systems are not isolated. They are linked together in a chain, or more accurately, a complex web. If you only focus on optimizing one part in isolation without understanding how it affects the others, you can create unintended problems. For instance, if you aggressively ramp up marketing, input, to generate a massive number of leads, but your sales process, or sales team capacity hasn't increased, you'll get a flood of leads that aren't handled properly. The output of leads might be high, but the output of sales could stagnate or even drop due to overwhelmed staff and poor follow-up. You improved one part of the system, lead generation, but broke another, sales conversion, because you didn't see them as connected. Understanding your business as a collection of interconnected systems allows you to move beyond just looking at individual tasks or departments. It lets you see the flow, the connections, and the dependencies. It's about understanding the recipe that turns all your ingredients, inputs, into a successful cake, output, and knowing which part of the recipe needs tweaking, not just trying to add more sugar or flour randomly. Part 3. The transformative power of thinking. Okay, so if viewing business and life as systems is so powerful, what book helps us understand this deeply? The book we're talking about, the one that provides this fundamental lens, is Thinking in Systems, a Primer by Donella H. Meadows. Donella Meadows was a brilliant scientist, an environmentalist, and a pioneering systems thinker. Her work is foundational to understanding complex systems, whether they are ecological, social, economic, or yes, even business systems. She had an extraordinary ability to take incredibly complex ideas about how systems behave and make them understandable and practical. Thinking in Systems is not a typical business strategy book filled with case studies of successful companies or specific marketing tactics. Instead, it's a book that teaches you how to think about the world in terms of systems. It explains the basic components of systems, the underlying principles that govern their behavior, why they often produce unintended results, and crucially, where the most effective points are to intervene if you want to change a system's outcome. When we read this book, it was like putting on a new pair of glasses that suddenly made everything in focus. We started seeing the connections, the feedback loops, the delays, and the leverage points everywhere, not just in business, but in personal health, relationships, finances, even global issues. The reason this book is so impactful and why it feels like a secret among those who operate at a high level is because it provides a framework for understanding why things happen the way they do. It moves you beyond just observing events, like low sales, to understanding the underlying structure, the interconnected sales and marketing systems that produces those events. Imagine trying to solve a recurring problem in your car, like it keeps stalling. A mechanic who doesn't think in systems might just replace the part that seems to be failing at that moment. But a mechanic who understands the car as a system would look at the fuel delivery system, the ignition system, the exhaust system, and how they interact, perhaps realizing the stall is caused by a clogged fuel filter, a problem in the fuel system that affects the engine's ability to run, a problem in the engine system. Replacing just a spark plug wouldn't fix the root cause. Thinking in systems teaches you to be that systems mechanic for your business and your life. It gives you the tools to diagnose the real problems, find the points where you can make the biggest positive difference with the least effort, and anticipate the potential consequences of your actions. It's not about quick fixes. It's about understanding the underlying dynamics so you can create lasting, positive change. Part 4. Seeing the whole picture clearly. Let's expand on that pipe analogy we mentioned earlier because it's a powerful way to visualize a system. Imagine your business as a pipe, and the flow through the pipe is potential value, leads, customers, revenue, impact. The goal is to maximize the flow coming out the end. The pipe isn't uniform. It has different sections representing different stages or systems: marketing, attracting attention; sales, converting interest into customers; operations, delivering value; finance, managing money. If the flow coming out the end of the pipe, your desired result, is lower than you want, there's a restriction somewhere in the pipe. If you don't think in systems, you might just guess, maybe we need more marketing. So you pour more effort and money into the start of the pipe, marketing input. You get more interest flowing in, but if there's a narrow section further down, say a slow sales process or an inefficient onboarding system, that extra input just backs up behind the bottleneck. You've increased effort dramatically at the start, but the output at the end hasn't improved much, if at all. This is incredibly frustrating and a waste of resources. It's like trying to fill your bathtub faster by turning the faucet up to maximum when the drain is partially blocked. The water level won't rise as quickly as it could, and you might even overflow the tub if you're not careful. Thinking in systems teaches you to look for the bottleneck, the narrowest point in the pipe that is restricting the overall flow. Instead of just adding more input at the start, you identify the bottleneck and focus your efforts there. How do you find the bottleneck? By looking at the data at each stage or section of your pipe. How many people see your marketing? How many become leads? How many leads book a call? How many calls turn into sales? How many sales successfully go through onboarding? How many become repeat customers? Tracking these numbers reveals where the flow is slowing down the most. If you get tons of leads but very few book calls, the bottleneck is likely in your call booking process. If many book calls but few buy, the bottleneck is in your sales conversation. If you get lots of customers but they churn quickly, the bottleneck is in your delivery or customer success system. Identifying the bottleneck is the most leveraged action you can take. A small improvement at the bottleneck point has a disproportionately large impact on the overall system's output because it was the primary limiting factor. Improving something that isn't the bottleneck, no matter how much you improve it, will have minimal impact on the total output. If your sales calls already close at a very high rate, trying to improve that rate even further is much less impactful than fixing a terrible lead-to-call booking rate. This is the power of seeing the whole picture. It's about understanding the connections and finding the points of maximum leverage. It moves you from random effort to strategic intervention. It allows you to work smarter, not just harder, by focusing your energy where it will make the biggest difference to the entire system. Part 5. Life as interconnected systems. The beauty of systems thinking isn't limited to business. Once you grasp the concepts from thinking in systems, you start seeing them everywhere, including in your personal life. Your life is also a complex network of interconnected systems. Consider your health. It's not just about one thing. It's a system involving inputs like your diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management. These inputs feed into processes within your body: metabolic processes, immune responses, recovery. The outputs are your energy levels, mood, physical fitness, and long-term health outcomes. If you try to improve your health by just focusing on one input, like exercising intensely, but your diet is poor and your sleep is insufficient, the system isn't optimized. The poor diet and lack of sleep can become bottlenecks, limiting the positive impact of your exercise. Understanding this system helps you see that balanced inputs across multiple areas are necessary for optimal health output. Think about your personal finances. Income is an input. Spending, saving, investing, and budgeting are processes. Your net worth, financial security, and ability to achieve financial goals are the outputs. If your income is high, good input, but your spending is uncontrolled, inefficient process, or you're not saving, lack of a key process, your output, wealth accumulation, will be low. The bottleneck isn't the income, it's the spending, saving process. Even relationships can be viewed as systems. Inputs include time spent together, communication, shared experiences, emotional support. Processes involve navigating conflicts, building trust, showing appreciation. Outputs are the strength, depth, and health of the relationship. If communication, an input process, breaks down, it affects the entire system and the relationship output suffers. This perspective helps us identify where to focus our energy in life, just like in business. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by everything, we can map out the key systems in an area we want to improve: health, finances, learning, relationships. Identify the inputs, processes, and desired outputs. Look for the bottlenecks or weakest links and intervene at the most leveraged points. It helps us avoid common life pitfalls too, like the person who works endless hours to earn more money, increasing income input, but neglects their health and relationships, damaging other critical systems. While the financial output might increase temporarily, the overall system of their life becomes unstable and unsustainable, leading to burnout or broken relationships. Systems thinking helps us see these interconnected consequences. It's about understanding that everything is connected. A change in one area of your life or business will inevitably have ripple effects elsewhere. By thinking in systems, you become more aware of these connections, allowing you to make more intelligent decisions that create positive outcomes across the board, rather than solving one problem only to create 3 new ones. Part 6. Mastering leverage and feedback. 2 key concepts from thinking in systems that are particularly powerful are leverage points and feedback loops. We touched on bottlenecks as leverage points, but the book expands on this, explaining that there are different types of leverage points within a system, some more powerful than others. The most powerful aren't usually the obvious ones like adding more input. They often involve changing the system's structure, goals, or even the mindset that created the system. For example, in a business sales system, adding more leads, input, is low-level leverage. Improving the sales script, changing a process, is higher leverage. Changing the incentive structure for the sales team, Changing a rule-shock goal within the system is even higher leverage. Changing the fundamental goal of the sales system from just close deals to build long-term customer relationships could be the highest leverage, fundamentally altering how the system behaves over time. Feedback loops are also critical. These are the mechanisms where the output of a system circles back and affects the input or process. There are two main types: reinforcing or positive feedback loops. These are loops that amplify a change. The more you have, the more you get. Examples: the more money you save, the more interest you earn, which increases your savings faster. The more customers you get, the more word-of-mouth referrals you receive, which brings more customers. These can lead to exponential growth or collapse. Balancing or negative feedback loops. These loops seek stability or a target. They counteract change. Examples: your body's thermostat mechanism. If you get too hot, you sweat to cool down, bringing your temperature back to a set point. In business, if customer complaints increase, you might implement quality control measures, which reduces complaints. These loops provide stability, but can also resist change if you're trying to move the system to a new state. Understanding these loops helps you see why systems behave the way they do. Why does success sometimes build on itself exponentially? Why does a problem sometimes get worse and worse? Why does a system resist change even when you push it? It's often due to the underlying feedback loops. Thinking in systems teaches you to identify these loops, understand their dynamics, and find ways to work with them or change them to achieve your desired outcome. This is truly advanced stuff compared to simply learning a new productivity hack or sales script. It's about understanding the fundamental forces driving outcomes. When you start thinking this way, you stop feeling like you're constantly fighting against invisible forces. You start to see the patterns, understand the dynamics, and learn where and how to push to get the results you want, both in your business and your life, with greater predictability and less wasted effort. You gain a profound sense of control, not by micromanaging every little thing, but by understanding and influencing the underlying structure that creates the outcomes. Part 7. Applying systems thinking today. So how do you actually start to use this powerful way of thinking? It begins with shifting your perspective and then applying a structured approach to understanding the systems around you. It moves you from feeling like you're juggling countless tasks to feeling like you are a system architect, designing and refining elegant solutions. It's the path to working less but achieving more, because you're not just busy. You're focused on the points of highest leverage within your systems. It's the path to building something resilient and predictable because you understand the underlying dynamics. It's the path to feeling more fulfilled because you're addressing root causes and creating lasting change. Here is a step-by-step plan on how to apply this to your life. Number 1. Choose an area of your life or business you want to improve. Pick one area to start, like your personal finances, your health goals, or a specific part of your business like lead generation. Don't try to map everything at once. Number 2. Identify the core system. What are the main components or stages in this area? For finances, it might be income, expenses, savings, investments. For health, it might be diet, exercise, sleep, stress. For lead generation, it might be content creation, audience reach, conversion to leads. Number 3, map the inputs, processes, and outputs. For your chosen system, list what goes into it, inputs, what happens to those inputs, processes, and what results come out, outputs. Draw it out if it helps. Simple boxes and arrows can clarify the flow. Number 4, look for the stocks and flows. Identify where things accumulate. Stocks, like your bank balance, your weight, your list of leads, and what makes them increase or decrease. Flows, like your salary coming in, money going out, leads being added, leads being contacted. Number 5, identify feedback loops. Where do outputs circle back to affect inputs or processes? Does getting more leads motivate you to create more content? Does spending too much money make you feel stressed, affecting your sleep? Does exercising give you more energy to eat better? Number 6, Find the bottlenecks or weakest links. Where is the flow getting restricted? Where is the system not performing as well as other parts? Look at the data if you have it, or make your best educated guess based on where you feel stuck. Number 7, look for leverage points. Where could a small change make a big difference? Is it adding more input, improving a process, changing a rule, or perhaps even changing the goal of the system? Focus on the bottleneck first, as fixing that is often a high-leverage action. Number 8, test a small intervention. Based on your identified leverage point, make one specific change. For example, if the bottleneck is booking calls from leads, try improving your call to action or your follow-up process. Number 9, measure the results. Track what happens after you make the change. Did the flow improve at the bottleneck? Did the overall system output increase? Use data to see the impact of your intervention. Number 10, repeat and refine. Systems thinking is an ongoing process. Continuously observe your systems, identify new bottlenecks as the old ones are fixed, find new leverage points, and keep testing and refining your interventions. This iterative process leads to continuous improvement and greater mastery over the system's behavior. This systematic approach, informed by the powerful principles in thinking in systems, is how you move from feeling like you're fighting a chaotic battle against individual problems to intelligently designing and managing systems that produce the results you desire, consistently and effectively. It's a journey into understanding the deeper operating principles of the world around you, and it is profoundly empowering. If you like this video and you want to support our new channel, please like this video, subscribe and push the notification bell so you don't miss our new videos.